Tell me a little bit about the future of KnowBe4. What kind of things? I know at our summit we talked a little bit about some of the very real-looking business email compromise type deals, and what do you see on for the training world? Where do you see that evolving, and what's new in the scope there?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying that. I got to tell you, the thing I'm most proud about is what's called our Inside Man series. It's sophisticated user training. It looks kind of like a Netflix series. We're on season 4, I think, just got released. And I literally have the only time in my entire career where I've heard employees email us going, "Hey, when's the next episode coming out?" I'm going to go, "Of employee security training? You're asking us to train you more?" Yep, they're hooked. And let me say, God bless Stu, the CEO, and all the other people decide to make, make Inside Man. It's pretty fantastic. But certainly what we're seeing is just scams everywhere. And I think, let's say early on, we were more concentrated on just corporate scams, business email compromise scams. But now there's so many scams everywhere, and people are being scammed at home from people pretending to be police officers, IRS, your energy company. There's romance scams. There's SMS things coming into people all the time. And I think what we realized and changed our mindset is that even if the scam, like a romance scam, is not usually directly financially related to a corporation, if you got an employee that's dealing with losing thousands or millions of dollars from a romance scam, that is an unproductive employee. They're not working for your business during the time they're handling that situation. So we're spreading out our education to talk about more types of scams, beyond just traditional business scams. And I've got this thing, I teach it this way: no matter how the message comes to you, whether it's email, SMS, social media, voice call, email, person, someone's in person trying to scam you, scams usually have these 4 traits. The message, wherever it arrives unexpectedly. Number 2, it's asking you to do something you've never done before for that requester. Number 3, it's usually got a stressor event saying that you have to do it quickly, or you'll be arrested, you'll lose money, drop business. And number 4, if performing that request could hurt your interest or your organization's interest, don't do the request. You need to now verify this request using an alternate safe method, calling on a known good phone number, going directly to the company's website. But that's so I think a part of my education, part of KnowBe4's education, is how can we change we call the culture? How can we change the security culture of organizations and people to just have this default level of skepticism, to be aware of the traits of what might be a scam? Because I can't warn you, last week I was writing about Facebook scams and then QR code scams. And like every week there's some new type of scam. There's going to be cloud scams in the future, IoT scams or whatever. And you really have a hard time keeping up with the sheer number of them. But the traits of scams are relatively the same and remain the same. And if you can just teach, it's like you're holding your young kid's hand as you walk off a curb and you go, "Hey, look right, look left, look right." Then you go across the street. After you teach it enough, that kid's looking right, left, right without you having to ask. Well, that's what we want to do with employees, is give them enough education that it just becomes instilled in them, in the organization, and the culture to be skeptical of things that could be a scam.
It's kind of funny. My wife, Marcia, she takes the week to get the scam of the week that comes out from KnowBe4, and she forwards it to the entire family every week. So,
oh, cool.
She's seeing value in that. She's doing that.
I love that idea. I love that idea. More people should do that, because the scams of the weeks or the months or whatever, we're getting a lot of telemetry from, tens of thousands of customers and getting to see what comes out there. Like this week, COVID's really big, or the COVID test or whatever, or maybe it's a Super Bowl scam, or, the earthquake scam. And that's part of it, is keeping up with the latest scams.
So Kirk, how do you guys, how does Synnercom use KnowBe4?
For ourselves, and we sell it to our clients as a recommendation. Like we had mentioned, Roger, that the number one thing is you got to not get caught, first of all, in the social engineering. So a lot of companies will have that, or they've tried something, or they do it in-house. So we resell it, and we also use it ourselves to keep ourselves from getting in trouble. Like I said, my wife takes it and forwards it to the whole immediate family every week, the scam of the week thing, so that everybody wants to think they're going to win the lottery, I guess, and they always are hopeful that it might be their big day, right? They got this email that showed them that Microsoft's giving away $1 million and you won. So Yeah, we use it both internally, and we do with a lot of all the controls that we like to facilitate, and then we run our own network, and then we help customers position it in their networks also.
Well, thank you for your support. I always tell people, usually everybody's got the right policies. Usually everybody's got content filtering and antivirus, and you got all the things where you're trying to stop it from getting to your end users, but you do have to educate people because I've been waiting for hey, these scams are going to stop for 30 years. And it just seems like it's getting worse every day still for right now. And as long as it's bad, we need to educate people how to recognize bad things and then how to treat them, which is to report them to IT or help desk or delete it, at the very least, delete them.
Right.
So training, that's usually the underappreciated role in it.
Yep. And it's a very critical role. Like you mentioned, the social engineering is one primary way pen testing gets in. Passwords. That's all those are the two easiest ways by far. If you're getting in an hour, that's usually the way you're getting in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Roger, I got two more questions
fast.
before we wrap this up here. First off, congrats. I just saw that you guys released your earnings. Significant growth year over year. I noted your revenue was like over 40% year over year growth. But one thing that caught my eye was like 47,000 customers. And I don't know how much that's up for the year, but I just was kind of curious. It's probably all over the place, but where are you seeing most of your customer growth? Because that's a lot of customers.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what I'm supposed to talk about since I'm a trusted insider and we're not allowed to talk for 3 days before or after our release. But let's assume that I'm sharing what's only publicly known. But certainly we're reaching out to more and more places around the globe. Is a big part of it. I think, that's just a natural extension of it. But yeah, I think our early concentration was, smaller businesses. Now moved, as you grow as a business, you have the ability to scale and sell to more scalable places. But certainly, I think a big part of our growth has been more and more countries. So that's been a big reflection of that. But yeah, I love our result. I love working for a company, that does well and people like the products. And it's interesting. I've been with KnowBe4 now just going on 4 years. When I first joined, when someone I'd say, oh, I work for KnowBe4. And they'd go, what's KnowBe4? And about 2 years ago, somehow that changed. And they're like, oh, I know y'all. Or I failed one of your phishing emails. That's like the most common thing I hear. I go, hey, I failed 2 of our phishing emails. You're not alone. But it made me realize that as smart as I think I am, that I am scammable. And now I am like a freak about not clicking on something. Like if it comes to me and it's got a link in it, I'm hovering, I'm looking at it, I'm giving it due consideration before I click it. And I would say it's, before KnowBe4 tested me, I didn't think you could trick me. Now I know that I can be tricked, and it makes me be a little bit more cautious that I'm human. So if you've been tricked, I've been tricked. Although I will say, knock on wood, it seems to have been a good year or plus since I've been tricked. So I'm hoping to keep that going.
Cool. Well, my last question is, what is the picture behind you?
Oh, I love this. So this is the Alan Turing's computing bombs, BOMBES. So, Alan Turing was the British guy that figured out how to break the German Enigma code. So these were the first mechanical computers, or at least one of the first. But he figured out how he could crack the Germans' Enigma. It was a German Enigma had this symmetric code that was really difficult. It would have 4 or 6 digits used as their kind of the encryption cipher. And he realized how he could crack it. But he's like, oh, they said you'd have to guess tens of thousands of times. And he's like, yeah, we'll just build thousands of these things. So he made that over in their huts. And before we broke the German Enigma code, the Allies had never won a battle against the Germans. And after we made that machine, we never lost a battle. And it seems to be that they think that it made the war end about 2 to 4 years earlier than it otherwise would have, saving millions and millions of lives on both sides. So, good thing.
Very cool.
I'm a crypto nerd. It's computing bombs, they call them, BOMBES. Alan Turing. What was that movie? They did the Theory of Everything or something like? No,
that was a different guy. That was
a different guy. But Alan Turing, he was a
nice.
smart dude.
Cool.